It was an edge of the seat thriller to kickstart Women's T20 Challenge 2020 with Velocity emerging victorious, tipping uh, Supernovas by 5 wickets. Welcome to Avnir presents the Outside You part by WTF Sports. Today we look at the second clash between Velocity and Trailblazers. It's going to be the first time Trailblazers play this season. Smriti Mandana led side, too much of interesting players in the side. Gouher, who are the ones you would like to keep an eye on in this contest?
I think Smriti Mandana has three internationals who are, playing for the first time, Chantam and Dotin and Salma. So I'm interested to see how Chantam does in her first outing because she's sort of facing the first 11. So I think probably I would like to see her open the innings because she's been doing that for Thailand and she's got that experience as an opener and not putting too much pressure on her and changing her batting position. You can get the best out of her opening the innings with Smriti Mandana. I think Dotin, of course, you can use her in the probably if the power play goes on well, she can come in at number 3 and go for those explosive shots. And Salma, being very experienced for Bangladesh, she's done very well as a off spinner for Bangladesh. So I'm interested to see how she goes.
Right, the news coming from Sharjah, of course, is Velocity have won the toss and have opted to bat this time. Ananya, interesting choice because off camera we were sort of thinking what will the captain winning the toss do? Just because it's a day game. Remember the track it's the similar track as to the yesterday's game. So you surprised with the choice or it's the right one you feel?
I'm not surprised with the choice. I mean, yesterday we were also talking about how Mithali Raj likes to bat first. And I think with it being a day game, there's no dew that comes into play in the second innings. So I think it's a choice that you would expect from her. And I think it also allows the batters to kind of, they know what the conditions are. So they're able to gauge better what a good total will be. They don't have to go too hard too early because they understand, that if you get settled, maybe a 140, 150 is on the cards. So I think it's an expected decision. I'm not surprised that she's chosen to bat. And, in the second innings, probably it'll give more to the spinners as well.
Gouher, tell me a mindset of a spinner in such games because one, you are going to ball when the sun is going to be ripe. You can expect more turn. But secondly, the track generally slows as the game progresses. So as a spinner, would you like to bowl first or you'd like to bowl second?
Look, in a day's game, it doesn't matter much because there's no dew factor involved. Because once there's dew involved, it's very difficult for a spinner to grip the ball. Probably we could see that Supernovas bowlers were a little struggling with the line. So I would have liked to bowl either ways, either in the first innings or second innings, as long as there's no dew.
You'd like to have a ball. Just give me the ball and I'll let my ball do the talking. The conditions don't matter. The weather don't matter. But Ananya, is it a bit hard on the seamers? Because remember, Velocity, of course, are batting for that. Perhaps give their seamers some extra rest?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I can imagine what Shikha Pandey, what Jahanara Alam are feeling after, barely 24 hours ago, they had finished. Or not even 12 hours ago, they finished. They probably were lying down in bed thinking, oh my God, I have to get up and do this all over again in the sun in Sharjah. So I'm sure they'll be happy to get maybe an extra, an hour or so with their feet up. Hopefully they don't have to bat and the top order does their work. So yeah, I mean, it does give them a bit of extra rest and I'm sure they'll be happy about that.
We'll get to the playing 11th in a bit, but the Matthew could be one of the important support staff members, isn't it? Because yesterday on air, they were talking about who could be the key ones. And in such games, especially on Velocity, of course, they are the only side playing back-to-back games. Gouher, as a spinner, do you kind of have these sort of thoughts in mind as to whether it's a back-to-back game or a normal one?
Not really. Being a fast bowler, yes, it is difficult. It takes a toll on a fast bowler, this thing. But for a spinner, for me especially, I'm always ready for a game. Be it back to back, be it after 3 days. Actually, it is better to be a back to back game because there are not a lot of things running in your mind. You're prepared. You're not thinking about the last game. You're already preparing for the next one. So yeah, it's better to have a back to back game, and especially when you have a win in the last game.
Yesterday, you had your eyes fixed on Ekta Best. We'll come to the bowling perhaps later. Of course, Velocity are batting first. They have one change. Sushri Divya Darshini comes in for Manali Dakshini. Are you surprised with this change, Gouher?
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised because I would have liked Devika Vaidya to come in because of the kind of wicket it is. Actually, it's not even a bad choice because Devika and Sushri, both of them like to toss the ball up and invite the batsmen to use their footwork and make mistakes. So uh, maybe Sushri would have gone. They would have gone in with Sushri because she's got 3 wickets in the last edition that she's played, and she's probably slower. She tosses the ball up, and she might just get a odd bounce from the wicket. So could probably be the reason.
It could be two reasons, isn't it, Ananya? You saw Sushri from close quarters when you were covering the Challenger earlier this year. One is that she's I mean, there's variety because there's Ekta Bish, there's Sushri now, and there'll be Sune Lees, of course, for a leg spin. So what does Sushri bring to the table? And that's one. And secondly, is that clearly is the change clearly mooted by matchups? Because yesterday we saw Manali because of some aggressive batters, the opposition, while spinners clearly is the way forward today, it seems.
Yeah, and I think also the reason for playing Sushri is probably because Trailblazers have Deepti Sharma in that middle order. So a left-hander, you want someone who turns the ball away. Lee Kasparik is someone who gets a lot of drift, who uses changes of pace and angle to get her wicket. She doesn't genuinely turn the ball, whereas Sushri does. So I think that's a possible matchup that they were looking at to maybe counter Deepti. And as far as what she brings to the table, I think mindset-wise, she's very similar to Devika. They're very feisty cricketers, short bowlers. So they, like Gouher said, they toss the ball up nicely and they get the batters coming onto the front foot to drive. So I think the matchup was probably mostly Deepti. But I think what I really liked about Sushri when I saw her bowling earlier this year is the fact that she gets the ball to really drop on the batter. So you think it's coming to you, you think it's there for a drive, but it just drops on you and you miss the length. So I think that's something that I was really impressed by. Hopefully these 7 months she was able to work on it and get better. But yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the reasons they probably picked her.
Right there on your screens are Velocity playing 11, just one change. Sushri Divya Darshini, of course, comes in for Manali Dakshini, a spinner in for a pacer. But it's interesting to look at the batting lineup. It's exactly the same. And yesterday we were also debating as to whether Mithali Raj should open. Eventually, that's what happened. She walked in on the 5th ball. But would you change the order today, Gouher?
No, probably they've had a win with this batting order, so I think they'll be going with the same batting order, and because the middle order has done well. And today I would like the openers to play the natural game, and Daniel Wyatt will be opening the innings, and today she'll be having outgoing bowlers in the opposition in terms of Julan Goswami, Rajeshwari Gaikwad, and Sophie Eccleston. So I think she would get some runs today, and Shefali, if she gets going, there's like no one like her.
Right, when Shefali Verma broke into the Indian side, she was compared. Her batting was sort of compared to Virender Sehwag. Like she just goes hammers and tongs at the start, makes complete use of the field restrictions. Is there a brief that you'd give someone like Shefali, Ananya? Because given that you could see that she's not kind of happy with the 17 run from 10 balls kind of scores, where she actually delivers an impactful performance. Because if we run through the scorecard yesterday, apart from Shefali, only Sune Lees had a superior strike rate of 150 or more. Otherwise, the others sort of hovered around the 100, 110 mark. So if you talk about impactful innings, apart from Sune Lees, Shefali's was one. So is that a good sign from Shafali that she was sort of dejected because she didn't really score big? Is that one a good sign? And two, do you really tell her to rain down so that that impact perhaps could be stretched?
Well, one, it's definitely good signs that she's not happy with the score like that. I mean, I don't think any pure batter would be happy with a score like that. She got a start. She was looking in complete control and then threw it away. So it's good that she's not happy. I mean, we saw through the World Cup as well that she wasn't happy with those 40s, even though she was making a really, really good, big impact on the game. She wasn't happy with when she was getting out, and it's good for a batter to be hungry, to be greedy, and it's obviously if someone like her is greedy, she's going to score at a pace that allows you to take complete control of the game. But as far as whether you would give her a template or ask her to rein in her instincts, I don't think so. I mean, she's still 16, she's still figuring out her game. She's understanding how to pace her innings in terms of making it longer, being able to stretch out that hitting ability. So I think W.E. Raman has also said this a lot, that she will learn as she continues to play. The longer she plays, the better she will get, and that's exactly what they should just let her go, let her play her game and figure out her mistakes, because having observed her over the last 12 to 18 months, I've seen her, be able to problem solve very well. That was something that I am extremely impressed by. The fact that she was targeted with the short ball when she played for India A, but she came back, she worked on it, and she found ways to counter that. She found ways to counter people, bowling straighter to her into her pads. She's continuously through her international career has found ways to solve these problems. So I think she's only going to keep getting better, and they do well to just let her go and play her game.
The spicy nature of her batting also makes it interesting to watch from the second aspect as to how she counters those problems. Like yesterday, we saw the short ball perhaps could have troubled her the way Ayabonga Khaka was just shortening her length, but she was coming down the track, hitting it over, mid-on, mid-wicket, mid-off. Encouraging signs, isn't it, Gouher? And especially given that they're batting first, it's going to be bright sunshine. The conditions that you kind of said are tailor-made for batting. That's the platform set for her to entertain us all.
Yeah, definitely. And today they're not in chasing, so there is absolutely no pressure. And I don't think Shafali is the kind of batsman who takes the pressure, irrespective of the situation. That's the best thing about her. But yeah, I think she'll be hungry for runs, and today if she gets going right at the start, I think. But if you also think she has an opposition where there's Julian Goswami and there are Sophie Cliston, Deep Sharma, but very smart bowlers. So I think she'll have to not be casual, I will say, like the way she got out yesterday, and be a little on this thing and get on with her game and play the way she does, and I'm sure she'll get a lot of runs today.
Let's look at Trailblazers 11 now. Poonam Rao, Nusrat Parveen, Kashvi Gautam, and they miss out for this game as also. Ananya, your first look at this playing 11, and remember, out of the 4 overs, these 3 are first timers. So interesting from that aspect, because they are the experienced pros, you would say, but they themselves are kind of making their first appearances in this tournament.
Yeah, that's there. But like you said, they're experienced campaigners. Aside from Natakan Chantam, and I mean, Salma Khatun has been a part of every major, thing in Bangladesh cricket. She was there for the first T20, the first ODI. She's part of the history of Bangladesh cricket. So she's experienced enough to understand, how to go about her game at this level. I mean, the teams have had a week together to kind of understand how they work, to gel well. So I don't think that will be much of an issue. And all 4 of them are going to have a big impact on this game. I think it's nice to see Deandra Doughton looks to be slated up at the top of the order. So that's very exciting for me. And I think Salma Khatun and, of course, Sophie Eccleston, the number 1 T20 in the T20 bowler in the world, are both going to have huge impact. I'm interested to see which one of them takes the new ball. I think one of them will take the new ball. So that's one thing I'm really interested to see. But one thing I'm really surprised about is the fact that Nusrat Parveen is not playing and they're throwing the gloves to Richa Ghosh. So clearly they've seen something in her during those practice sessions, or they're trying to fit in an extra batter. But yeah, that's a big surprise.
Yeah, it's good that you brought up Richa Ghosh's factor, because remember, Trailblazers, apart from Julan and there's hardly a seamer you can sort of rely on. And of course, there is Deandra Doughton, but if they perhaps needed another seamer, Richa Ghosh could have been that factor. But she's donned the gloves now. Interesting from this angle, isn't it, Gouher? And talk to us about her wicket keeping skills as well.
I mean, Richa Ghosh is a kind of player, somewhat like KL Rahul. She can do anything. She can open the innings, she can go middle order and go bang bang. And then she can, if the team requires, she can bowl her medium in swing medium pace, and then of course wicket keeping. So I think Smriti Mandhana was smart enough here to have Richa Ghosh, because she could have. If she had to play Nusrat Parveen, I think she could have had to give away an all-rounder or a batter. So she was smart enough here, and I think Trailblazers have a very good bowling lineup, I must say, because they have this variety of three different kind of off-spinners, two outgoing left-armers, and then you have the legend Julan Goswami coming in. So I think it's going to be interesting.
Right, if Nusrat Parveen had to play, suppose in this 11, the only player who could have likely been not been a part of this could have been Dylan Hemalata, isn't it, Ananya? And her presence is also sort of banned Hemalata to put in that lower middle order kind of a phase where perhaps Trailblazers are looking at her as a finisher, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm actually very happy to see her in the mix. I think she's a very high quality off spinner. I think she doesn't rate herself very highly, but I think she's a very good off spinner, very good all rounder, as we spoke about earlier as well. So I'm really happy to see her in this side. She's a lot like Deepti Sharma in that they have the same skill sets. So I think it'll be interesting to see how she does on this wicket. She's someone who gets a lot of bounce and a lot of turn. She's able to get bite off the wicket, which is great. So I'm happy to see her in the mix. I think, like you said, if Nusrat had played, then she probably would have missed out. But what I'm surprised about is, having watched Nusrat bat in those T20 domestic games last season, she was on song. She ended up being the highest run getter, even though she played half the game. So she's been batting very well. So for her to miss out, I think, and considering she was in the T20 World, the Tri-Series squad in Australia as well, I think it's a harsh call. She will probably feel gutted, but it's a brave call from Smriti.
Right, a bit more on Nusrat, because I'm sure she would have been given the reasons for missing out, at least from this game. We could probably see her in the next as well. But given that the first day saw the action in terms of glove work from Tanya Bhatia as well as Sushma Verma, where Verma even had a stellar batting innings, would she really be sort of egging to go one? And number two, perhaps it's a step back for her, isn't it? She's not playing one of the two guaranteed matches that a team can play in these three matches, Ananya, and that could be perhaps sort of, she'll be having mixed feelings, I suppose.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm sure she's feeling gutted, considering, like you said, this is one of only two guaranteed games, and she would have been egging to get out there after a really long time. She didn't play in Australia either. So, yeah, I mean, I guess she'll have to figure out what she needs to do to get into that team. But I think the Trailblazers are just looking to kind of bolster their batting. They are very top heavy, like we discussed earlier, and they wanted to bolster that middle order. And I think to some extent, she probably feels like Hemlata provides that stability in the middle order, considering her international experience. She has batted at 3 in the T20 World Cup in 2018 as well. So she probably has more confidence in Hemlata, having seen her at closer quarters than Nusrat. And that's probably something that worked in Hema's favor.
Right, two left-arm spinners in Trailblazers 11. They are bowling first. Sophie Eccleston, the number one T20I bowler, and Rajeshwari Gaikwad, who is perhaps India's preferred left-arm spinner. Of course, Radha Yadav has a terrific run in T20I. but she's been the first pick when it comes to T20I. So, Gouher, what's the sort of notes exchange do you see between these two left-arm spinners? What does Rajeshwari have that perhaps Sophie Eccleston might learn, and vice versa?
I'm probably Sophie Eccleston is a kind of bowler who wants to attack the batsman more and bowl on the stumps and get something out of the wicket. And Rajeshwari more probably relies on her tossing up the ball a bit and mixing up her deliveries, changing of pace. Of course, she has that faster one, and then she gets the ball turning. So probably the discussion would be this, and both of them are different kind of bowlers. So Smriti would have been very happy to have these two in the side, top class bowlers.
I'm sure you would have liked to be a fly on the wall in those discussions. But Ananya, let's focus on the first Thailand player to play a T20 league, Natakan Chantam. The 11 that we've seen, the order that we've seen slates her to come somewhere in the middle order. One, is that where you see her coming, or do you see the order change as per the requirements of the second inning?
Well, I hope it changes, but I think that she's probably going to bat in the lower middle order. I think it'll be hard to fit her. It would be nice for her to come at number 3, but it will be another alien position unless she's batting in the first couple of overs. But I think she's going to bat in the lower middle order. I think number 5, number 6 is probably the highest that we'll see her, considering, the confidence that Smriti Mandhana seems to have in Richa Ghosh, especially after that Challenger Trophy where Richa batted in her team and batted herself into that T20 World Cup squad. She's developed a lot of confidence in Richa, and I think she's going to give her a lot more opportunities to bat in the top order and probably cement that middle order slot in the Indian side. So probably I think Natakan Chantam is going to have to bat slightly lower in a position that's alien to her, in conditions that are alien to her, and she'll have to start against spin, which I think is going to be a huge challenge. But again, it's an opportunity to learn and to figure out how she's going to go against high quality teams.
Chantam, of course, scored that attractive 56 against Pakistan, and was involved in an opening stand of 93 with Nataya Bhuchatamat. And it was lovely to watch her hit those inside-out shots against spin, against someone like Anam Amin. But as you said, it could be tough given that the conditions are really inclined towards spinners here. Let's have a discussion on Sushma Verma once more. We talked about impact and the numbers that showed the impact. The strike rate perhaps didn't show the impact that Sushma Verma had, but her innings of 34 odd runs that she made, Gouher, was really created. In fact, it paved the way for Velocity's win, isn't it? Because they, remember, needed 50 in the last 5 overs. And she was that calm, experienced head that everybody looked up to. And I'm sure Suneli's just looked at her and went about with her business.
Yeah, she started off slow, but also this wicket is such that you just can't step into a field, and start banging right from the first ball. This is the kind of wicket where you'll have to have a eye in and play a few deliveries, which is what Sushma Verma did when she started off. She started off slowly with singles and pushing Veda Krishnamurthy for those 2 runs, and then later on she did that with Suneli's, and then Suneli's coming in and having that positive approach in the middle has definitely helped Sushma Verma to go for those aerial shots, and she was brilliant. She covered it well. She had a slow start, but she ended it well, and she got this game along with Suneli's to velocity.
The reminder for those who are watching, do send us your comments and questions, and we'll, time permitting, take them up. We have one interesting one here. It'll appear on the screen right now, which is Prajin Prasad asks, which middle order is more strong? Which of you want to take that? Gouher, Ananya?
Senior Pro.
Okay, I'll take that. I think it's probably because we've seen the game yesterday, and because we see the Trailblazers top position very strong because they have quite a few openers. So I think Velocity has the strongest middle order that they've already proven it. So maybe for me, it is Velocity's middle order that is the strongest right now.
And then do you differ?
No, I have to agree with her. I think that while they don't have the big names, I think they have players who can chip in with like 20, 30 runs, and that's what we saw with Sushma as well. They have these players who understand their game, who play in different areas, and I think that's what makes them slightly stronger middle order.
Shouldn't have asked you because you have picked Velocity to be the winners this season. Okay, let's go to the invisible predictors hat that's floating around our virtual studio. Gouher, you first. One, your score range for Velocity, and two, your batting and bowling performers of the inning.
I think I'll go with Velocity's batter Daniel Wyatt, because today she has an opposition where there are outgoing bowlers, and she likes that room outside off stump, and she's very good over the covers and with her drives, and when she likes it when she has room. So I'm going with Daniel Wyatt today. And what was the other thing that you asked?
Bowler from Trailblazers.
Bowler. Sophie Eccleston. Yeah, it has to be
All
Sophie
right.
Eccleston. Bowler number one. Or it could have been Raja if not Sophie Eccleston in the side. So it's Sophie Eccleston for me.
And Ananya, your picks for batter and bowler performer of the inning.
I'd like to say Shafali Verma. I think if Shafali Verma gets going, they're going to get around 150. So I'm going Shafali Verma, and I'd have to say Sophie Eccleston with the ball. You can't go past her.
Right. Sophie Eccleston has been picked by both our panelists, while Shafali and Daniel are expected to come good. Will that be the case? We'll find out in our innings break chat on Avneer Presents The Outside View, powered by WTF Sport.